Today we're going to be looking at the process of your dissertation, and I'll be encouraging you to plan out your process so you know where you are and so it can help you with time management. So here's an infographic we put together. You start with an idea that's relevant to your studio practice, you write a proposal, you read over the summer break, and hopefully you've completed all of those parts of the dissertation process. I'd be encouraging you now to write notes ready for your first meeting with your advisor, and then after that you can start to plan out your ideas and start further research trails, and we'll come to talk about research trails in a subsequent lecture. So planning out your process is where we are today. And if you think you haven't got a process, if you feel you haven't completed sufficient reading, and here's another infographic to support you, which shows you that most students do feel like this. So what we're going to do in critical studies is give you a series of 4 lectures. So these will be pre-recorded and placed on StudentNet alongside the lecture notes, and it's in the lecture notes, the actual downloadable presentations. You can click on any of the links or signposted information that we give you. We're going to start off looking at planning with a Gantt chart. We've already looked at the context of the dissertation process. I'm going to be talking about a self-assessment that you can take, which will support you in identifying possible strengths and weaknesses and ways to support yourself with these. We're going to look at identifying a wicked problem. And as we move on, we'll be looking at research at level 6, how you can structure the big body of writing of the dissertation, and criticality and peer support. Today, however, I want to look at the Gantt chart. Now, these are project management tools for long-term planning. Here, in the left-hand column, you have all the things you need to be doing, and along the top you have your deadlines. And please note, these are suggestions only. The template doesn't reflect the actual dates for full-time students or for part-time students. You'll need to amend the template. Do look and refer to your dissertation handbook, which is on the critical studies pages of StudentNet. So, let's look at an example. Submission of first draft just before you go on leave. Now, I would actually be very happy if you went to your curriculum area and filled in any curriculum area deadlines, because this is where this sort of sense of visual planning comes into play. So let's say you've got a curriculum area deadline at the same time as the submission of the first draft. Now, submitting a first draft that's quite fleshed out is very important for the dissertation, because that way your tutor can give you lots of useful feedback and detailed feedback. The less you give them, the less they can give back. So you might want to consider, if you've got conflicting deadlines or if your curriculum area pulls you out of college, that you bring that deadline forward. So you know you've completed your first draft, you can concentrate on your studio practice and then come back to lots of lovely feedback. So consider this. Some people have their own systems. There are lots of management systems, wall planners, diaries, calendars on Word, iCal. But I do think it's useful sometimes to do a kind of basic overview of the planning structure. Now, self-assessment. To support your progress, it does help to consider your strengths and weaknesses, and a SWOT analysis will provide one framework in which to support this. And again, you can download a blank document to print out on StudentNet. And you're looking at 2 rows, internal origin, external origin. So here, internal origin is all about you. External origin will be products of the environment. And we have helpful and harmful, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. So to take an example, if you feel that you're poor, say at grammar, at communication skills, you need to place that in the harmful section, but also you might want to add in Visiting Study Plus as an opportunity, and you'll find these things work together. Now, of course, external origin is Study Plus, it's an external support mechanism. Strengths, you might be great at planning. So if one of your threats is that there's a long project and there's a lot going on, then that will help you with those threats. It's really just a framework to help you kind of focus your mind on possible strategies, possible issues, things you perhaps might need to talk to your dissertation advisor about. And I'd also like you to identify this idea of a wicked problem. Now, there may be, and there probably are, more than one issue that stands in your way or issue that you have questions about regarding the dissertation. But if you had to choose one wicked problem, what would it be? And the reason we're doing that, it will be clear later on in the course programme. And you might find it's time. You might find you have specific difficulties with writing or academic reading. It could be motivation. If you don't enjoy writing, the dissertation can come across as quite burdensome. Course area deadlines. You might be worried about how you manage all those deadlines. Also how you manage so much information. There's a lot of research involved in the dissertation. And one of your problems might be confidence. So if you can identify which you think is the most pressing, and again I would suggest you talk to your dissertation advisor about this, then this can help you find ways to overcome that problem.